Welcome into another Mercy Health matchup as we preview games in the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. It's presented by Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine and Meyer. I'm Richard Skinner. He's Tony Pike. We're looking at this week's big game in the Greater Miami Conference, Fairfield at Princeton. Tony, let's start with Fairfield, 6-0 on the season. They got a great running back in Juton McClain. Their defense, for the most part, has been good. I've got them ranked number 3 this week in my poll behind St. X and Elder. I think there's a little gap there, but this has been a really good Fairfield team this season.
It's been a really good team, and they don't do a lot to beat themselves. And when you look at how you play and how you win late in the season in Ohio high school football, one, you have to be able to play defense, and two, you got to be able to run the ball because evidently
they got the guy, man.
You're going to get into a game where it's cold, it's windy, weather is a factor. If you can hand the ball off to a guy like McClain, or if you can rely on your defense, well, there's the sky really is the limit because you don't have to rely on a passing game that can be affected so much by inclement weather.
Yeah, their quarterback, Sawaya Ellis, is a factor in the run game. He's also had a very efficient season passing the football, just does enough to take the pressure off Juton McClain, but McClain's already 1,089 yards in the year. He is a dynamic runner for sure. Princeton has been very good for the most part defensively, although they struggled a little bit last week in the first half at Middletown, gave up 21 points and were tied 21 all at halftime, did roll off 22 unanswered in the second half to win 43-21. They've won 2 straight games, a comeback before the week before against Lakota East. It's been a really up and down Princeton team. They've committed a lot of penalties. The quarterback position, MJ Horton's been a very effective runner. He's not been a very effective passer. They haven't really settled on a running back. They did get Thomas Boyd going last week, and maybe he's the answer. His size and power with Horton's speed, maybe a nice little 1-2 punch.
It's a great 1-2 punch and an opportunity for Princeton to silence a lot of the noise that's out there because this was a team coming in this year. You looked at all the talent on that roster. It was questionable. When are they going to get it going? And as we've talked about, they have star players at positions that don't necessarily dominate in high school football. You mentioned Paris Johnson on the offensive line, the defensive end position, linebacker.
Yeah, Darian Henry and Jaheim Thomas, both Division I guys.
You just don't. You're not able to dominate a game at the high school level as you are with a dominant quarterback, a dominant running back. So Princeton is missing those aspects. If they can get that 1-2 punch going and then rely on all the talent behind that, that's a team that come playoff time. If you're looking at them as a 4 or 5,
you don't want to play them.
That's not a really good matchup for your team going forward.
Yeah, this should be a great matchup, though, this weekend. Fairfield is at Princeton in our Mercy Health matchup in the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown. For more information on the Skyline Chili Crosstown Showdown games, just visit xtownshowdown.com or go to Twitter. It's Xtown Showdown on Twitter as well. Coming up next, it's the Mercy Health Huddle, your source for your student athlete.
Hi again, everybody. We're here with Dr. Brian Ridinghouse from Mercy Health Orthopedics and Sports Medicine. Doc, we're talking athletics, and with athletics, unfortunately, knee injuries happen. Specifically today, we want to talk about the PCL. Can you explain to us exactly what the PCL is?
Yeah, the PCL is the posterior cruciate ligament. It's one of the 2 ligaments in the center of the knee. The other ligament is the anterior cruciate ligament, which is a little bit more well-known. PCL is the strongest ligament in the knee, and it's also the least common injury. About 5% or less of knee injuries are going to involve the PCL.
So with that said, then what are some of the ways that you can injure the PCL?
So for an athlete, the most common way that they're going to injure the PCL is imagine an athlete running and another player coming and running right into the front of their knee. So driving that tibia or the bottom leg posterior on the knee. The other way would be an athlete falling to the turf with a bent knee, jamming the front of that knee on the turf, driving that knee posteriorly. So
you think maybe you injured the PCL. How exactly do you diagnose a PCL injury?
So initially we'll examine the athlete. There's a few exam findings that will make us suspicious of a potential PCL injury. And if that's the case, usually we'll get x-rays and then we'll use an MRI to definitively make that diagnosis.
And if you do get that diagnosis that comes through, how do you treat a PCL injury?
So we can treat PCL injuries either operatively or non-operatively. When the PCL is the only structure in the knee injured, usually we can treat it non-operatively. And the way we do that is with bracing and physical therapy. When there are multiple structures in the knee involved, whether it be other ligaments or the meniscus that are involved in the injury, many times we do have to treat it operatively.
So depending on the severity of the injury, then how much time can an athlete expect to miss if they get that injured PCL?
Sure. So we grade PCL injuries from 1 to 3, 1 being the least severe of the injuries. With a grade 1 injury, many times 2 to 4 weeks we can get an athlete back with bracing and rehabilitation. The more severe injuries, you're looking more about 3 to 4 months of non-operative treatment with bracing and rehabilitation. Surgical treatment, you're usually looking about 9 to 12 months to get an athlete back.
Well, we're hoping for the best. Unfortunately, injuries do happen. Great information today, Doc. Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Absolutely.
When it hurts to move, what often hurts most is the fact that you can't. Because every rebound is calling your name. and every dance should be danced. It's in moments like these that we step in to help you step back off the sidelines. Because it takes two to tango in this life, and you are meant to be the one. Mercy Health, healthcare for the universe of you. Find an orthopedic doctor at mercy.com/ortho.